Hello, hello. Welcome to this episode of The Creative Pause. My name is Susan Padron, and I'm here with my co-host, who I will allow to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Stacey Faye. It's good to be with you all today on this episode. We're very excited today to have Brandi Nicole with us of Hike and Heal, and she's going to bring us sort of into a grounding space around nature and meditation. And we'll introduce Brandi more formally in a moment. But before we do, I wanted to let you know why we're all here, as we are in every episode, which is to bring a smile to your face or a time of grounding or calm to your day in this time that we're all navigating, which can be pretty tumultuous. So we hope that each of these episodes is doing that. And we're excited today to do the same. And we also, in the beginning, like to just ask how you're doing for a lot of the same reasons, because we know that it's a time when we're going through a lot of difficult emotions and different emotions per day or per hour or per minute. And so it's important to name those emotions and just sort of talk about them collectively as a community. So I will share, Susan will share, and Brandi will also say a few words. And anyone who's there live, we'd love for you to just chat in. If you want to just say a word about how your day is going, or more than that, you're welcome to. And if you are listening to this recording, feel free to say it aloud or write in your journal or find some way to share it today with yourself or with someone you love, just to kind of do a check-in. So I'll start first. I'm doing okay today. I'm starting to, if you've been following the show, I'm very pregnant and I'm starting to have like pre-labor contractions. So a lot of my energy and focus and nervousness and everything else is kind of invested in that direction today. So yeah, there's not much more to say about that. It's a big thing. And, I'm, in this time that we're all riding in the pandemic, it's sort of weird to be going into a hospital, and stressful to be doing that, but I'm trying to trust that, all the doctors and nurses are doing their best and protecting themselves and everybody else as much as they can, and that everything will work out. So yeah, that's my mental space today. Send all the good vibes and energy my way as I navigate this. Susan, how are you doing?
I'm definitely sending lots of good vibes your way, Stacey, for you and your baby girl. um, I am doing okay, I think, today. Today's been a pretty good day, I think. The weather's been nuts, but aside from that, I feel like I've been doing all right. Feeling better about, just how things are starting to progress. Like, starting to hear more news that isn't just negative all the time, like something that's like, oh, there's like a little, like an itty bitty smidgen of hope that's coming out sometimes. Like that's exciting for me. I needed that. I think we all needed that, just like given a little bit of something positive to hold on to. In terms of the news, in terms of the state of the world, like I think within my own bubble, within my own day, I'm able to find a lot of positive elements, but it's just hard when you're starting to like plan ahead or look forward and say like, okay, so when's that going to get positive again? So hearing those little bits of hope has been helpful for me a lot. So Brandi, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Every time I say that, I feel a little bittersweet about it. I've taken this time to really touch into who I am and tap into those things, get more in touch with my spirituality, and just work on me. And the goal for me is just to come out of this better than how I came into it. So with this is something that's totally out of my comfort zone. So I'm happy to have said yes to it. So my thing is like, I'm saying yes to more of the things that scare me a little bit and saying no to the things that aren't going to serve me. So I'm happy to be here and thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And I mean, I've had the pleasure of seeing you do like the guided hike and heal through our Rise gatherings, facilitators workshop day that we had back in February.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe.
February.
Um, and you did such a beautiful job, and I loved how you handled everything, and I've been like following your journey with Hike and Heal, and so to hear you say that like doing something like this is a little bit out of your comfort zone surprises me, because you just seem like such a natural speaker and leader, and you've done such beautiful things. But I'm happy to hear that you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit.
I
the,
think it's
yeah,
different
that's
when someone else is like the prime host and you're the guest.
nice.
So I'm not a controlling person, but when you're not in control, it's just a little different. But
Yeah,
I'm happy to be out of control.
that's totally okay. I think I can speak for Stacey and myself, for sure myself, in saying that we have a bit of a control freak side in us. Um, you know, I think like a lot of a control freak side in myself, for sure. Um, for those of you watching the recording, Stacey's laughing because she knows it's true.
I like to call it detail oriented, but yeah, it's total controlling. but Brandi, I mean, Susan and I, like, this is, well, I won't speak for Susan. For me, like doing this show is completely outside my comfort zone in every possible element. But I think this is a time to kind of like, for better or worse, just dive in the deep end, right? And like try to do things that might be pushing you, or that inspire you, or maybe your gut feeling is kind of saying yes to, but you're like, oh. So I'm glad that you said yes.
Yeah, so now I get the pleasure of featuring the quote that Brandi shared with us. So I'm going to do a quick little screen share and pull that up. And this quote is by India Ari. It says, I release all these disappointment from my mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional body, because I know that spirit guides me and love lives inside me. That's why today, I take life as it comes. Ugh, that's so good. I
I
mean,
might hear it.
so tell me what it is about this quote that made you decide to share with us today.
So for me, I don't really have, for a lot of people, they might think that I have like a very detailed plan for what I want Hike and Hill to be, and I do not. I don't. So for me, I love music, love it. It's something that really connects me to, my story or people's stories, and I can feel that energy that people express through music. So I decided to make a playlist. And before that, I thought about it before. And then once the quarantine happened, I was like, okay, I'm going to just bust this out. And I forget what day it was. I think it was a Saturday. And I just created it. I think it's 4 hours long. And I put it out there the next day because somebody was like, I need that playlist. And I was like, okay. And, I was moving, all the songs in different places. And this is the first song of the Heal Hun playlist. And I think it just sets the tone for the playlist. And if anyone has the time, it's about 1 minute long and it's very acoustic. She's playing the guitar and she sings this portion, and this is the song itself. Like, this is it. And she has a few songs like that on the album. But I think it just sets the tone for the Hill Hun playlist, and it's pretty much about times when things happen to you. It can be relationships, situationships, life stressors, and you go through all these emotions, and as soon as you feel like you're out of it, something else happens, and then you realize that at the end of it all, it was that you had to focus on yourself. You had to bring yourself to a point where you love yourself, and then you can accept that love that you deserve. So it's awesome. I love it, and it's not because I made it. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Like everything that you were just saying, Brandi, about, just how you have to come back to that moment of, or that place of loving yourself. And then it may feel like you just keep going through all of these things, or you're waiting for something to just quiet down or like get easier or whatever it is, that it really just comes back to you. That I got chills like when you were talking. Like it was just so beautiful. Thank
Well,
you for that.
thank you.
So now I get to formally introduce Brandi. So I mean, Brandi is the founder of Hike and Heal, and she is always been very dedicated to women's overall wellness. She has her dual master's degree in health education and health administration, but before she completed that, she decided to create something that was outside of the corporate setting, and it was really fueled by her own passion for wellness promotion and for helping women. So after she received so many positive responses from women who are interested in trying hiking for the first time or wanting to have a group to engage and connect with, she organized the very first hike in May of 2019. So she is going to share so much more about Hike and Heal, about the journey that she's been through with it, how it's evolved, how it's grown, and sharing so many wonderful things with us today. So I'm going to hand it over to Miss Brandi.
Thank you for that beautiful introduction. So I wanted to start this with just the benefits of nature and being in nature and how it can impact your well-being for the better. And initially, for me, I was in touch with nature growing up as a kid. My uncle, he was in the Navy. He came back for a little bit and he wanted to get the family together to go camping. So for some that may know, a lot of African American people are a little bit wary about camping. So my family was like, I don't know about that. We don't camp. And we decided, well, I was young, so it wasn't we decided, but my parents and all of the elders decided that they were going to do it. And that became our way of everyone getting together. And we would go to Maryland and Virginia, and he would take us to all these different campsites. So it was just amazing. And for me, I was always into dance school and tennis. Like I was into more of the, I guess, feminine, however you want to put it, sports. And I had no issue with like getting down in dirt, sleeping in the tents and going on nature walks and all these things like that we used to do. So that pretty much left my life. I want to say when I got older, we didn't really camp anymore. And I'm not really sure why, but we just didn't. And I want to say 2017, my friend approached me and she said, I want to go to Colorado for my birthday. And I was like, okay, I'm down. And I'm very adventurous. I love to travel. So when anyone asks me to go somewhere, I'm more than likely, I'm ready to go. So we went and I had an amazing experience, and I bought hiking boots and I said, when I get back to Philly, I'm going to use these expensive hiking boots. I didn't at all. I was in grad school. I was working full time, and life got away from me, and 2 years went by and I don't know what happened. And when we got to, I want to say it was March of that year, I was just contemplating one day and the words hike and heal came to my brain, and it was just like, and I was like, what does that mean? And I was like, oh, a women's hiking group. Like this all just came to me in this moment. And I was like, but who's going to want to hike with me? And I was like, well, let me see if there's hiking groups. I couldn't find any. So I said, well, if you can't find it, then clearly you should just see if other people are interested in it and create it. So I put it out there, and I'll show you in a few pictures of like the evolution of Hike and Heal. And I never went to Wissahickon. I've lived in Philly all of my life. I've never been to Wissahickon. So at the time I was 29, and I said to my parents, like, oh, you know, that place y'all went to, they had went the summer prior, and they talked about how they saw these monarch butterflies. And I love butterflies. I was away on some trip, and they took pictures and sent this to me. I was like, look at this. We've never been here. And they're all from Philly too. And they were like, look at these butterflies. And I was like, oh my gosh, monarch butterflies. And I'm a science nerd. I was a bio student, a public health student before grad school. So I was like, oh my gosh. And I went out there, and I just felt this energy of nature. And I was like, wow, like I really missed it, because I haven't been out like that since I was a kid. And then I haven't been out hiking and since 2 years prior. And I was like, well, I've been missing out, you know? So I went out, I kind of explored a little bit, and I was like, okay, this would be really cool. I put it out there, and we had our first hike in May. And it was I think the day before Cinco de Mayo or Cinco de Mayo. And I had 5 people come. It was everyone that was connected to me. The next hike, we had 4 people come. It was in August. And then it just picked up from there. September was 20 something. October was 40 something. And then editor from Be Well Philly came. And I was like, Be Well Philly? And I love Be Well Philly. So I was just like, wow. So I'll go back to that. But I experienced the power that it's really hard, honestly, to put into words what you feel when you either walk or the hiking of it all. Like it's very hard to experience unless you just at least try it once. And you can just feel like coming of like emotions that are just non-existent anymore. There's no stress when you're hiking, unless you get lost, but there's no stress associated with hiking. You venture, and you see all the colors, and you see all the trees and the leaves and the streams and all the animals, and there's just really nothing like it. And there's so many benefits, and I can go into the science of it all, but honestly, I'm actually not going to do that. I thought I was going to do that, but I'm not going to do that. Just do it. And the best time to do it is now, socially distant, of course. If you could go maybe earlier in the day versus in the evening when everyone gets, off work, would be really the best. It would ideally the best, because I went out on Tuesday and it was fairly, packed, but it's nice to see that this is like the one thing we can do. So why not take advantage of it? And, it's going to be a beautiful weekend. So it's the best time. But yeah, it's just a great experience. And I'm going to show you some pictures to just walk you through my evolution, I guess, of hike and heel.
While you're pulling up your screen, Brandi, I have to share that in the chat. I don't know if you saw it, but Liz responded when you're talking about how there's just no stress when you're hiking. Mm-hmm. She said, unless the sun starts setting real fast.
Yeah. So funny story. I'm sorry, I'm trying to hit slideshow. When we went out in September, that was Liz's first experience with the Hike Hive, and it was Women's National Health and Fitness Day. And we also, you'll see there's pictures in here of us hiking, and we had a photographer on set in the woods. And I was like, I think it would be a great moment for us to get this captured in the essence, and you will see in these pictures the essence of what everyone was experiencing and just sharing with one another. And Liz came, and at the end, it was a happy hour hike, so it was after work, And we started a little late trying to wait for some people to come. A lot of people came in wrong, and the sun started to set at the end. And people had their flashlights. And when we got to the end, they were like, woo, you know, it was just so funny. But this is my experience in Colorado. This is where not it all began, but it all began. And as the pictures go by, I'll explain. I don't remember what this mountain was called. I forget the name of the trail, but we were in Silverthorne, Colorado, and it was beautiful. We hiked maybe 3-4 hours. And while we were going on the trail, I was telling Susan and Stacey earlier how I saw moose tracks for the first time, and it was not ice cream. And we would hike, and it would be sunny and beautiful, and then we would take off layers, and then it would be snow on the ground and freezing cold, and you're putting the layers back on. It was a constant pick it off, put it on, pick it off. But it was amazing. Now, this is Wissahickon, when I went out to see what Wissahickon was all about after 29 years of being in Philly. And one time we had someone come to a hike. She lived here, I want to say, she might have said 40 years. She moved to, I want to say, Florida. She came back to Philly 20 years later. And that was her first experience in Wissahickon, coming with the hike hive. Yeah. And this is a little millipede I found. And sorry, some of the pictures move because it's an iPhone. So they're not all videos. But that was our first hike, the picture before. And the sound of the water is very peaceful. The calm setting. It's just amazing. And when most people come, they've never been before. Some people they've hiked before. This is Puerto Rico, El Yunque National Rainforest. I was there last July. That was an amazing excursion. We bouldered, we went on waterfalls, slides, jumped off cliffs, swung on the swings like Tarzan and Jane. So at first I was like, okay, this is cute. And then you'll see my face at the end. But yeah, like that was just a beautiful experience. And this, I met these little dogs on the trail. This is the Andorra Meadow. I forget their names were Bruno and Zeus, I want to say their names were. They were cute. This was our August hike. And one of my friends, she wrote an ebook about Vision Matters. So she was a guest for that hike, and she read some excerpts from her book. And there's Liz. This was Women's Health and Fitness Day. And you can see all the smiles on everyone's face as they, joined the circle before we started. And it's really beautiful to see how many people come alone. Most of the hike hive honeys, they come alone, and then they leave with a bunch of new friends. This is where we do our midpoint stretch as a community. We all connect and stretch together and support one another. And these are the Girls Gone Happy cards. Sometimes I pull them in the beginning, in the middle of the hike, and we can, talk about it after. People use it to reflect throughout the hike. And it's just something to think about, and we can share at the end. I love that picture. This here is a Vitality Meditation Studio. They collaborated with us and offered meditation at the end of the hike. And this was when we hit 43 hikers. And the day before, the Be Well Philly article went out. And I was amazed. This was the next day. We had a harvest hayride, and we had about almost 30 women that came out that evening. We did a evening hayride, had food and s'mores. And this is November. And we had Danielle Mercurio do sound bath gong meditation. And I'm about to dance in a circle. It was a beautiful ritual that she gave us. It was awesome.
You are freaking fantastic. And I know I don't always remind you of that. I know I don't always remember to acknowledge who I am, and that I'm doing a good job, and I can do that right now. That is enough. More than enough. Breathing into your heart.
It's really incredible, like how much the group has grown in such a short period of time, Brandi. That like really speaks highly of you and what you're doing for, the Philadelphia community, and I mean, just this incredible outlet that you're gifting to so many individuals. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, I was in a space where I actually wanted to move. I've been here all my life. I went to school here, went to grad school here, and I was really ready for a change. And then I created Hiking Hill, and I'm like, you're not going anywhere anytime soon. Prior to that, we had a holiday party in the woods. And then January, I started out hiking in Stone Mountain. Yeah, and I saw Oprah, not at Stone Mountain. I went to an event that she was hosting this year. And that was our first hike in February and our only hike this year, unfortunately. This was actually a very small adventure hike. I started to do these adventure hikes with 10 people, and it's an intermediate advanced level, just to give people a little, change. And we go out for about 2 to 3 hours, depending on the time allotment. So if it's during the week, I would do 2 hours after work or 3 hours, on the weekend. And everyone was loving it. And then we had to stop. So, yeah. But I can't wait until it comes back. And I always am in love with these ducks.
Brandi, what determines the different levels of the hikes that you go on? I know you said more of like an intermediate or advanced level hike that you were doing, the adventure style. How do you determine the different levels?
What I do is I go out and do the trails first. So the trail that I created for this adventure hike, I actually planned on doing it way before. I want to say right when I came back from Puerto Rico. I went and did the trail, and I was like, oh, no. This is too much, so I don't want anyone to get hurt. I don't want anyone to feel like they have to come and be advanced or know all about hiking or have hiking boots. Like, I just want it to be as accessible as possible. And I just want you to come and just feel like you can just move. There's no prior experience necessary. So that's why I kept the monthly hikes that way, because it just allowed people to come. Some people work on Saturdays, so sometimes I would have it on Sundays, just to, be accommodating. And then once, last year went by so quickly, that was my idea to just offer this other option. And I knew that I could only allow a small amount of people to come. And because I still work full time, I can't do I can't hike every day like I would love to. So I was like, okay, well, every other week I'll do these adventure hikes. And then, whoever felt comfortable, they signed the waiver. And then we went out there. So they were awesome. And I can't wait to do any, hike offering when the time comes.
Well, it's so great to see those photos, and in the chat there are a bunch of comments about
Oh.
how beautiful things are, and people's smiles, and I think it really speaks to the fact that no matter where you are, even if you're in a city setting, like even if it's right outside your door, and I think you had mentioned when we talked to you earlier, even if it's on your stoop, like there's always things to notice, and some sort of, even if you don't have green space, some way to take in nature. And I think what you're doing in Wissahickon in particular speaks to that, right? Because it is part of the city. It's right
Exactly.
here. But there's so much you can take in, and grounding that you can kind of receive in that space.
Yes, it's a very healing space, and everyone that comes, they come with that energy. Like everyone's so positive and so open, and it's amazing. I'm so thankful for it.
I think there's something to be said too, and I would be curious as to your thoughts on this, Brandi, about what happens when you discover the beauty in your own space or home or city that maybe you never knew was there. Like you said, it took you, 29 years, I think, to get to the Wissahickon? Yeah, it took me more than that. I mean, I never, and it reminds me, back in college, I didn't hike until college. And I remember I went to some sort of state park in New Jersey, and I was just floored. I'm like, this is in New Jersey? Because my view of New Jersey was like a sterile suburb. Like I had nothing, and it blew my mind on such a level that it just transformed me as a person.
Yeah.
And I think that can, it's about healing and transformation, I think, and growth as a person when you can discover that beauty, like right in your backyard.
Yeah, and I think it says a lot, at least for me, and being from Philly, a lot of us are kind of over it. We got to that point where we were like a little over it. And I'm just going to speak for myself and some of my friends. They were just like, like I'm kind of over Philly. But I also feel like your experience can kind of shape that. So for me, growing up, I was able to experience other things because of what my family exposed me to. But there's other things that I didn't experience, and we went other places to camp, and we could have hiked right here. You know what I mean? So it was just interesting how that worked. But I feel like everything happens when it's supposed to happen. And all we can do is just try to do better for the next generation. And for me, I've always been really passionate about children's wellness. And that's where I was leading into. And then this happened. And I was going to do some work with a charter school and a camp and just grow from there. And I was so excited about that, because I feel like that's where we have to start. Like, just like you and I, we haven't been there until we were at a certain age. And it's like, why is that? Like, what is that about? So we should bring these people, at least these children from the city, and show them what else is available to them in their own backyard. You don't have to pay for it, and you just come out. Or even in Fairmount Park, you know what I mean? Like anywhere, just expose these kids to more. I could go into that more, but
I hear you. I think starting with children is key, and also letting kids know they can depend on their own body and own selves. Like I think when you hike, there's something about it that gives you that body confidence, and that the understanding that you can find calm and restfulness, even if your household may be traumatic, and maybe you don't have the stability in your household. You can find it within nature, whatever that nature looks like, for them.
Yeah, and I've read this article where in Chicago that they did this study where in the urban spaces you have that feeling of anxiety and stress, but when you see nature, you see greenery. They saw the MRI scan, and that section of your brain that shows like love and excitement lights up. And that's interesting to see that happen, because it's like, it makes sense. It makes sense. If you go into the city, you don't feel like rainbows and unicorn. You don't feel that way. But it's interesting, and I think that there's so much work that could be done here, and I'm happy that I stayed because I know it, because I've been here, versus someone that comes from the outside. People can implement things all they want and not have grown up here, but when you know the community and what is necessary, and for them to see that, oh, someone that is from here didn't just leave, like, that's where I'm trying to go with it. Yeah.
Brandi, can I ask, when you were thinking about moving, where did you have a specific place or type of place in mind that was like kind of calling to you that now Hike and Heal is like fueling, or was it like completely different? I'm intrigued.
Initially, before I went to grad school, I always wanted to go to the West Coast. I just wanted to change. Like, I was over winter, I wanted warmth. I wanted to hike. I wanted to hit the Hollywood Hills, and go to Potato Chip Mountain, like just different things. I wanted to do that. But my program that I was interested in, there wasn't many offerings in the West Coast, which was very interesting. There aren't a lot of, initially I wanted to go into nutrition. And then I decided not to, because depending on what state you're in will determine what I guess you would be cleared for. So not the rules for nutrition aren't across all states. So you can move and need to take courses or need to get certified in this. So that's where I shifted and went into health administration, health education. And then I ended up going to St. Joe's because they actually had the dual master. So I was like, you're just going to stay here. So I stayed. And then I was actually considering the Maryland, DC area. That's what I was considering. And I'm not saying it's completely, out of my, brain for now, but for the time being, I just want to do the work to like give my city back what I know that they need.
Mhm. Yeah. And I mean, it's something that you can bring with you anywhere. You
Mm-hmm.
can establish and create that community and then go somewhere else and establish and create a community again, because you really like built it from the ground up. And it's something that's truly like from you, that like you've created for the community. And I think it's just so impressive, and like I said earlier, like so needed. um, and Liz is chiming in on the chat too. I don't know if you got to see Brandi says, love that, Brandi, so thankful you're
No, if
here.
I didn't stay, I wouldn't know any of you. And that's so true. It's so crazy how fast a year like will go by. And I just met Liz in September, and you in when you had Living Your Vision, that was September.
That was October. So
October.
yeah.
So it hasn't even been a year yet. And yeah. And I wouldn't have hiking heels. So
You're coming up on the 1 year anniversary of your very first hike and heel hike, right?
yeah,
Because that was in May, and
that
that's
was in May.
tomorrow is May.
Yeah. I know. And it's so funny because when I like officially launched it in March, it happened to be on International Women's Day. Like alignment, and our first retreat was marks a year of Hike and Hill. And I just picked the date and I noticed it was the same date. And I was like, so I feel like God is working through me and things are just aligning in my purpose. And I was kind of in this place where I was really getting down on myself, and I was really disappointed with a lot that was going on with like the work, the whole workforce, and trying to get a job, and you need experience and you need this and you need that. And it's like, if I just finished school, where am I going to get the experience? Because I went to school to get the degree, so you at least could look at my resume. So I'm just happy to have created something for myself, and that I can just do what I want with it and just live my passion and my purpose. And that's just all that really matters to me.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And I'm happy. I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy that we met. I'm happy that you're on our show. So Brandi, you're also going to guide us through a meditation. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yay. We love meditation here on the Creative Pause. It's
Yeah, we've had several, and it's because they're so needed right now. Always, they're needed always, but especially now.
I know. So I'm going to take you through pretty much like a visualization of forest, and I'm going to take you through some breath work, and it'll be nice. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Begin by finding a comfortable seated position. Allow your body to begin to relax as you start to create a picture in your mind. Let the forest visualization begin. Imagine yourself walking on a path through a forest. The path is soft beneath your shoes, a mixture of soil, fallen leaves, pine needles, and moss. As you walk, your body relaxes and your mind clears, more and more with each step you take. Breathe in the fresh mountain air, filling your lungs completely. Now exhale. Breathe out all the air, feeling refreshed. Take another deep breath in, revitalizing, and breathe out completely. Let your body relax further. Continue to breathe slowly and deeply as you walk through the forest and continue to visualize. The air is cool but comfortable. Sun filters through the trees, making and moving. Listen to the sounds of the forest, birds singing, chirping, a gentle breeze blowing. The leaves on the trees shift and sway in the soft wind. Your body relaxes more and more as you walk. Count your steps and breathe in unison with your strides. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, hold. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, hold. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Continue to breathe like this, slowly and deeply, as you become more and more relaxed. As you walk through the forest, feel your muscles relaxing and lengthening. As your arms swing in rhythm with your walking, they become loose, relaxed, and limp. Feel your back relaxing as your spine lengthens and the muscles relax. Feel this tension leaving your body as you admire the scenery around you. The breeze continues to blow through the treetops, but you are sheltered on the path, and the air around you is calm. Around you is an immense array of colors: leaves, trees, flowers, rocks, dirt. Picture the variety of natural elements around you. Smell the forest around you. The air is fresh and filled with scents of trees, soil, and mountain streams. You feel very comfortable and at ease, The sun shines down on you. Looking around, you see a meadow in the distance. This meadow is filled with tall vernal grass, butterflies, bees, squirrels darting in and out of sight. You see a rock and sit for a moment and take in all that is around you. Feel the sun warming your body as you relax on the rock. Enjoy the majestic landscape and feel your body relaxing even more. Continue to breathe clean, fresh air. You feel so relaxed, calm, at peace, in unity with nature around you. Enjoy the sights, sounds, and smells of the forest around you. Feel the sun warm on your skin. Feel the gentle breeze blow across your cheek. Listen to the birds singing. Look out at the blue sky. Small white clouds float gently across. Watch them drift slowly. As you enjoy this peaceful place, recite one thing you are grateful for in this moment. When you are ready to leave this peaceful place, slowly begin to reawaken your body. As you reawaken, keep your eyes closed. Feel the calm, the peace, and the relaxation. Wiggle your fingers and toes to wake up your muscles. Give your shoulders a shrug. Roll your shoulders back twice. Roll them forward twice. Breathe in once more and stretch your arms out. Bring them above your head. Breathe in and breathe out with your palms at heart center. When you are ready, blink open your eyes and return to full wakefulness, feeling alert and refreshed. That's nice.
Yeah, that was so
How are you
beautiful.
feeling?
Thank you for that, Brandi.
Are you on mute, Susan?
Mm-mm.
Thank you for that. Can you hear me, Brandi?
Oh, there we go. I can hear you now.
Thank you for that. That was really calming and lovely.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I think I really needed that. I know I really needed that. I don't even have to think. My body like did not want to come out of it. It was like, no, this is so nice.
I know. I was relaxed just saying it. I was like floating.
Oh, that's perfect. Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. It's so nice, so calming, and also like kind of an interesting juxtaposition of how chaotic things are with like the weather right now, with life right now, but like still being able to come back to that level of calm and that peacefulness that nature can provide for us, you know, even if we can't like actually be there, like just pulling up a YouTube video of
I know.
you know, I like we listen, my husband and I listen to like white noise of, you know, different nature sounds at night
Mhm.
every night, but I don't know that I would have thought prior to this to pull up, you know, a YouTube channel of nature sounds just to like help reconnect with that part of me that really needs that connection to
Mhm.
nature. So I'm very grateful for you and for sharing all of that with us, and even just something that simple that
Mhm.
anyone has access. You have access to YouTube and the internet. You can have that connection with nature. Uh,
Yeah.
Obviously, it's better, it's best if you can be out in nature, but for when you can't or when it's not an option, just being able to get there.
Yeah.
Um, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Brandi, do you have any final words of wisdom or final thoughts that you'd like to share before we
um,
conclude for tonight?
One thing I did do, I did a pre-card deck pull. So I use these Girls Gone Happy card decks in women's groups, circles, the hikes, an array of things. And I actually pulled from the motherhood deck today because we're going into Mother's Day month. And I just wanted to show how you can use them even if you're not a mother. I'm not a mom. And the funny thing is I pulled adventure. You know, that's interesting. And I'm going to take a picture of this to email so people can journal whenever it feels right for them. So the topic was adventure, and the question is balance. And where do you feel out of balance? What needs to happen for you to recalibrate, reallocate, reallocate your resources and reestablish equilibrium? How can you work on this in the next week? So I'll be sending that out just for a nice little journal prompt that you can do in your spare time when it's sunny out this weekend. And these are really cool to like pull ahead of time when you're before you leave, or if you take the mini deck with you and you can, you know, just reflect. So it's really nice. I love them.
That's awesome. Thank you, Brandi. Yeah, it got me thinking immediately of some yeah, and we'll link up the Girls Gone Happy. I'm assuming you can buy that deck online somewhere, right?
I'll share the site, and they're I believe 20 or 30% off right now for Mother's Day. So it's a really good time to get the motherhood deck for a friend. If you know anyone that's pregnant, Stacey. It's just a great thing to give to anyone. And we have the clarity, money, and loss deck. So they're all amazing.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that and for everything that you've shared today. Where can people best find you? So if they want to stay connected to you and to Hike and Heal, can you share a little bit more about that as we close out?
Yes. So the Instagram for Hike and Heal is Hike and Heal, HikeandHeal. To find me and all that I do in the city and virtually right now, a lot of virtual offerings, it's the Wellness Enthusiast. The wellness enthusiast. And I have the Hike and Heal website, hikeandhealwellness.org. And I think that's about it for where to find me. Yeah, I don't have a YouTube channel or anything.
Yeah.
I know that's actually always been a goal of mine, but I'm so shy. Yeah, so.
Thank you so much. And Susan's become a whiz at YouTube through us doing this, so she can always give some pointers. I need her to so much. This has been a real delight to have you share your journey through Hike and Heal and the wonderful pictures and also the meditation. was really, really nice. My baby girl was moving all around as she was listening to those nature sounds.
Aw.
Oh yeah. So I and Susan and everybody who will take this in really appreciate your time and effort and, bringing some healing to the lives of a lot of people in the Philadelphia community. So thank you so much. And I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. We always close out with the same quote from a Mary Oliver poem, which is, "What will you do with your one wild and precious life?" So thank you all so much for being with us. We'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.
Thank you.